The ruins of Rome stood before them, silent, rotting, and filled with the stench of death. Once, this city had been the heart of an empire that stretched across the world. Now, it was a tomb. Fires smoldered in the distance, casting eerie shadows across abandoned streets. No voices, no merchants, no soldiers, only the distant, restless movements of things unseen. The three warriors stood at the gates of the fallen city. The gladiator gorilla exhaled heavily, his massive chest rising and falling. His ornate armor, once a proud symbol of the Colosseum, was scarred from battle but still gleamed in the dying light. His human companion, the gladiator, wiped dried blood from his face, eyes scanning the ruins with disbelief. The samurai in black armor remained still, his skull mask betraying no emotion. Only his voice, low and firm, carried through the wind. "This is madness," the gladiator muttered. Rome was powerful. The legions were countless. How did it come to this? The samurai spoke without turning. "Fools have many paths to destruction. Your emperor." There were rumors, whispers of his obsession. The gladiator frowned. Obsession? The samurai turned his masked gaze upon them. Necromancy. A silence heavier than the city itself settled over them. The gladiator clenched his fists. The gorilla rumbled low in his throat, his instincts recognizing the horror before his eyes. The samurai knelt. His hands moved in a precise, deliberate order, forming symbols unknown to the Western world. Glowing kanji flickered in the air as he whispered words in an ancient tongue. "Let your bodies mend. Let your spirits rise." Light enveloped the gladiator and his massive companion, warmth sinking into their bones, wounds sealing, pain vanishing as if it had never been. The gladiator flexed his arms, astonished. His gorilla companion let out a deep, approving grunt. The samurai stood. "We go to the palace. We finish this." The three warriors marched into the dead city. As they walked, shadows stirred in alleys and doorways. Not men, not animals, but something in between. Shambling figures, corpses of citizens and soldiers alike, turned their empty eyes toward the intruders. Then, as if answering an unheard command, they screamed and charged. The gladiator gorilla roared, a sound so powerful it shattered the eerie silence of the city. He surged forward, fists crashing into the undead with earth-shaking force, sending rotting limbs and shattered bones flying. The human gladiator danced between them, his trident piercing skulls, his sword cleaving through the damned. The samurai moved like a shadow, his katana slicing through the horde with perfect precision. They fought their way to the palace, stepping over the ruined bodies of Rome's dead citizens. At last, they stood before the emperor's halls. The palace was deserted, defiled. Once grand halls now reeked of rot. Statues of Rome's glory were defaced, replaced with arcane symbols etched into the walls in dried blood. The throne room, once the center of power, was now a tomb, and on the throne sat the emperor, or what remained of him. His body was ruined, flesh blackened and swollen with disease. Veins pulsed with something unnatural, something wrong. He no longer breathed, yet his eyes glowed with cold hatred, defiant even in undeath. His once golden crown was tarnished, his imperial robes now rags. His hands twitched, necrotic energy flickering at his fingertips. The samurai, the gladiator, and the gladiator gorilla stood before him. They said nothing at first. Then the samurai stepped forward. He slowly, deliberately bowed. The gladiator did the same. The gorilla pounded his chest, a warrior's salute. One last moment of respect. Then weapons were drawn, and the final battle began.